Well, could the heroes of Kevin Feige's MCU and James Gunn's DCU ever square off in their own Marvel vs. DC movie? Well, it turns out some of the executives behind the scene occasionally think about it. So today we're going to take a couple minutes to talk about what Kevin Feige had to say recently about that possibility and whether we actually think it could happen. Well, one of the best things about comic books over the decades has really been crossovers. Probably one of the biggest comic book crossovers ever was the classic Marvel vs. DC event. And people have wondered since superhero movies got big if we ever could see the Marvel Universe and the DC Universe possibly face off. It's something that has been talked about for, well, decades. And now it seems like it could actually be something that happens. Well, there's at least a possibility. Now, with both worlds exploring alternate universes, Marvel's multiverse and DC's Elseworlds, well, there is a possibility you could see the two studios come together and somehow face off in some kind of massive event film. But typically, this kind of talk is limited to fan forums and comment sections and not actually from the head of one of these studios. Now, recently, Kevin Feige talked with the team over at Collider, and he had a little bit to say about the possibilities of a Marvel-DC face-off. During that conversation, he said, quote, "Think about it occasionally, like any fan would think about it. I don't know when in the heck that would ever happen, or how it would happen, but we've been talking too long for me to go, never, we'd never be able to do that. We'll never say never. But no plans. I've seen paparazzi shots of the Superman set looking cool, so he's focusing on that, we're focusing on Deadpool and Wolverine." Now, even if both studios could work out some sort of short-term deal to develop a movie like this, the real question would be how would fans respond? And honestly, I feel like we have a little bit of an answer to that already. In the Eternals, Superman is actually referenced directly, making it clear people in the Marvel Universe know about Superman, and that little scene, despite Eternals kind of being one of those movies that people either love or hate, well, it's a fan favorite. So I do think it could work, but they just have to make it, well, not so gimmicky. I actually think the bigger possibilities exist in these multiverse tales where people run across other characters and we get brief glimpses of superheroes from other worlds where they don't really have to deal with lines, contracts, or anything big. Now, the possibilities of getting a full-on Marvel vs. DC like the comic series we got back in the day, and maybe even an amalgam universe, well, I think those possibilities are pretty slim, but a trilogy of standalone films that had that happen, I think fans would love, and definitely would put people into theaters. Now, I have no idea what James Gunn thinks of all this either, or Peter Safran, but I'm sure they're all comic nerds. It's probably something they've absolutely thought about. With Gunn and Feige having such an established relationship, it's not beyond reason to think that one could reach out to the other, start the conversation, and see what happens. Heck, Feige was able to talk to Amy Pascal and get Tom Holland into the MCU, so working out some sort of short-term deal for a Marvel vs. DC film or films is definitely within the realms of possibilities. It's just, well, like Kevin Feige said, it's a when. And with schedules so full, I have no idea when that could happen, but I definitely would be in theaters.